family. My name is DJ DeVoe. And welcome everyone to A Step to Freedom's 30th anniversary virtual brunch, brought to you by Pacific Premier Bank and City National Bank. I want to see you sway from side to side because this is a 30-year party in the making. How many of you had a vision 30 years ago that is still alive and thriving today? Well, Kenneth Kroom did. Back in 1991, he started A Step to Freedom. And since Kenneth has opened the doors of A Step to Freedom, over 3,500 individuals have received comprehensive transitional housing, wraparound programs, and supportive services. Wow. Over 525 participants obtained stable employment prior to leaving the program. And under the leadership of Kenya Kirkland, Kenneth's daughter, ASF has grown from one facility to 4. We're doing big things. Make sure you support us early and support us often. And you can do this real easy by texting ASF 30 years to 44321. Once again, that's ASF 30 years to 44321. No donation is too small, and every donation will have an impact in our community. And make sure you visit our website, asteptofreedom.org. And now, here to start our celebration, welcome our Los Angeles County 2nd District Supervisor, the Honorable Holly J. Mitchell.
Hi, I'm Los Angeles County Supervisor Holly Mitchell, and I'm honored to join you today as we congratulate A Step to Freedom on 30 years of community service in South Los Angeles. Thank you for providing our community with resources and a safe, sober living environment for justice-impacted and homeless individuals on their path to self-sufficiency. Over the last 3 decades, your organization has been in the trenches, working tirelessly to create effective change. As LA County continues to come back to life, it's my commitment to ensure that we don't return to failing systems, but instead use this opportunity to create sustainable solutions so that the residents touched directly by A Step to Freedom can truly thrive. If there was one thing that COVID-19 helped magnify, it was the long-standing crises that already existed in our communities that have only worsened as a result of the pandemic. I believe we have an opportunity to make generational impact as we work towards an equitable recovery. That's why I'm proud that the Board of Supervisors approved my motion to create a guaranteed basic income pilot program to help get vital funding into the hands of families who need it the most. Throughout my career in public service, poverty alleviation has always been a priority, and I'll continue to support policies that will strengthen the safety net services our most vulnerable residents rely on and close the gap for our marginalized communities. We can't do this work without the support of organizations like A Step to Freedom. Together, let's continue to combat these issues and truly make an impact on our community. Again, I want to congratulate you. Now, without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce the Executive Director of A Step to Freedom, who is building on the legacy started by her father 30 years ago, Ms. Kenya Kirkland.
Thank you, Supervisor Holly Mitchell, for your support of this 30-year celebration. We thank you for your commitment to working class families throughout South Los Angeles. Hey, welcome to A Step to Freedom's 30th year anniversary virtual brunch. I wish that we were all together in the same space. I mean, my vision was for us to be together, brunching, chilling, having a glass of champagne, and celebrating this monumental event. My father, Kenneth Kroom, started this organization in 1991. He met some guys while he was incarcerated himself that did not have the same support system. That's important to all of us, right? He founded A Step to Freedom to create housing, Not just housing itself, but a clean and safe environment for men and women to find stability. Before we start our celebration, I'd like to share with you my why for doing this work. There are over 550,000 folks who live on the streets across America. Here in Los Angeles, on any given night, there's about 60,000 people. Of the thousands of people who are currently unhoused, 40% are African American. That is why I do this work. We need our fathers and our uncles and our brothers and our sons, right? They need stable housing. They need opportunities. They need better paying jobs. And that's what we do. That's what I have the opportunity to do when I do this work. As we do this work as an organization, we have the opportunity to support men as they reconnect with their families. So I invite you to join us in our charge to continue to serve in South Los Angeles. If you are not already a member of our community, there are 3 ways that you can help us serve. 1, you can always volunteer. We have events throughout the year. 2, make a donation. Doesn't matter how big or how small, your donation will have a huge impact on South Los Angeles. 3, connect us with your network. Invite your friends and family to join this community as we continue to expand our work. Thank you to all of our amazing sponsors. Your support will allow us to continue this work for another 30 years. Let's get ready to celebrate. I hope your brunch is warmed up and in front of you. Let's connect in the chat. Feel free to engage with myself and the Step to Freedom family. Have fun and enjoy.
Thank you, Kenya. As we celebrate A Step to Freedom's 30th anniversary, we would like to welcome you into our story and the story of our founder, Mr. Kenneth Kroon. This is a story about family, Los Angeles, second chances and hope, and the ways all of us are shaped and reshaped by the places we live.
There are over 60,000 people experiencing homelessness of Los Angeles County, and 40% of them are African American. Unfortunately, Black men are incarcerated at higher rates than any other men in Los Angeles.
African Americans and Latinos bearing the brunt of these inequities and of these disparities. Redlining has been a problem that has plagued minority communities all over this country. Blacks did not go west of Central because of redlining, because of the sales practices, because of the convention of segregation. Those walls were broken down in the early 60s. It really provided an opportunity for Black people to move around, to reestablish themselves, and to really enjoy the fruits of our society. The migration certainly is a historical fact. You know, we know that the 20s, 30s, and beyond, Black people especially have fled the South. My mom moved here from Louisiana. Matter of fact, she went to high school right at Jefferson High School. My dad was from Arkansas at the time, and they met on a bus, as a matter of fact, going to LACC. But they were amongst hundreds of thousands of Black folks who came west, who settled in Los Angeles for the hopes of a better life.
My parents came to Los Angeles. Actually, my mother was pregnant with me in 1957 from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Where our lives really started here in LA was we moved in 1962. We moved to 103rd in Hoover, Vermont in Hoover.
This is where it all started, right here at this house, 813 West 103rd. Went to Woodcrest Elementary School, Bret Hart Junior High School. Washington is the high school in this area.
At a young age, my brother, he showed that he had compassion, love for a kid, a lot of wisdom. And he started sharing with me at 5, letting me know that, we should treat your fellow man just with compassion and love.
Boxing was a big part of my father's life. I believe it kept him from joining gangs at a young age. I believe that boxing kept him out of the streets Although incarceration was a part of his experience, I believe that boxing stopped that from happening earlier.
What we have out here is a gang war. We've got a narcotics problem.
One bad decision could land you anywhere, in jail, on Skid Row, or even worse. My father was an amazing parent, amazing dad, amazing mentor. When I was in elementary school, we visited my father in jail every Thursday and Saturday morning. And I remember, first of all, it was a huge secret, and my friends had no idea why I would leave school early every Thursday. He asked me what I would create, what I was going to invent, and he explained that I should be a producer of things instead of a constant consumer of things. And that was a lesson that he continued to teach and expand on throughout my life. He parented through his experience with incarceration. I learned valuable lessons from my father's experience.
During that time that he was away incarcerated, he saw men, young men who needed help. We had access to property, and he came home and said, you know, I'm gonna start a transitional living place.
In 1991, there was not a lot of commitment from organizations to support small community-based organizations. There were a lot of barriers. There was a lot of struggles in holding on, maintaining the site. It was a massive site. There was a mortgage on the site. And to this day, when it rains, I freeze and say, oh God, do I need buckets on Kingsley? Yep, leaky roof, no paint. I'm pretty sure some utilities got interrupted at some point. I was the case manager, I was the house manager, I was the program manager, I was the ED. I had to do it all. There was no paid staff. At that time, we would barter a room in exchange for house manager services. So when I think of the early years between 1991 and 2003, so that's before I took over the organization, at that time, funding, like I said, we didn't have it. He was in search of organizations, corporations, individuals that could help him undo the results of redlining, mass incarceration, and systemic racism. He was solving a problem that he had experienced himself and he'd witnessed firsthand. And the problem was really just too big for him to do on his own. Organizations like LASA and their capacity building organization, amazing consultants like JRG, and even the County of Los Angeles, I have to also give it to them for streamlining their process to invite small CBOs to participate in the process and do the work. We have been in the community doing this work, but having access to do this work without struggling is what my father was seeking and the opportunity he just didn't have. I originally took on this charge for my father. He handed me A Step to Freedom, the organization's binder, in 2003 after I graduated from undergrad, and said, you know, carry the organization forward.
You know, it's significant that the organization has been around for 30 years. A small community-based organization that's been committed to providing services and to being a voice in the community. You know, African Americans are about 8 or 9% of the population in Los Angeles, and we're about 40% of the homeless population.
I mean, it'll tear you apart to really see how African Americans are struggling. We need our husbands, our fathers, our brothers, our uncles in the home. I am most proud of the people that make A Step to Freedom function every day, my staff. Employing single moms who are able to make a decent living and actually make a living wage by serving just fills my heart. Employing Black men who may have had a history of incarceration. Expanding our programs like workforce development, entrepreneurship, and affordable housing. Those are the goals for A Step to Freedom. With my father's diagnosis of dementia, I realized that he may never realize the impact that A Step to Freedom has had and is having on South Los Angeles. Thank you, Councilmember Price, for your leadership in CD9. We look forward to continuing to work alongside of you to fight against homelessness and to build generational wealth in the new 90s.
What a powerful look at 30 years of service. Hopefully you have a better understanding of the history of our organization and the impact it's making in South Los Angeles. Today, Kenya and the team invite you to become a part of the organization's future by donating. It's easy, very simple. Just text ASF 30 years. Once again, that's ASF 30 years to 44321. And now I'm proud to introduce a powerful, candid conversation hosted by co-founder of the National Black Justice Coalition, Out Magazine's Journalist of the Year, wow, and one of Essence Magazine's 25 women shaping the world. Our host is an advocate for underrepresented communities, political strategist, media commentator. Welcome, activist Jasmine Canick.
So thank you so much for having me, ASF. I appreciate being here. This is a really, really important conversation that we need to be having at this time. For those who don't know my work, I work in politics, but I'm also a journalist, and I love my life because I get to blend two things that I'm very passionate about, which is advocacy and changing laws to meet the needs for the people of today, as well as writing about and talking about and sharing the stories that would otherwise go unnoticed and untalked about. And for me, I am super passionate about three very specific areas, and two of them we're going to talk about today, which is unhoused people and the criminal justice system and the work that's being done. I do a lot of work around criminal justice reform, and in Los Angeles, that is a huge, huge topic. It is something that affects all of us. I personally have never let me take that back. I did go to jail for attending a protest, but in terms of actually spending some time in prison, I've never done that, but I have been homeless before. So I come at this conversation from a point of view of someone who has also experienced being unhoused. And as a person who lives in downtown LA and can tell you that while we are focused on South LA, in LA County, the only zip code that has seen an increase in Black people is the zip code that houses Skid Row. Every other zip code in LA County sees Black people moving out, like moving to Texas, moving to Vegas, moving to where they can afford to live. But in LA, 90012, where Skid Row is, constantly, every day, you see more and more and more Black people living there. So as a person who lives downtown, this is very, very important to me, because no matter all the work in the world that we do around making our lives better will not matter if we're not here to take advantage of it. And so I think the fight is not just to reform the criminal justice system, but it is also a fight for us to remain in Los Angeles, to remain in South LA, to remain in our homes and in our community so that we can be here. We're doing this work so that our children can take advantage of it and their children can take advantage of it. We don't want to do this work and then be pushed out of our community. And I just want to give A Step to Freedom a huge congratulations on their 30th anniversary, and a big thank you to Kenneth Froome for having this vision and seeing it through and helping our community. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
I hope you're letting everyone on social media know about ASF and their 30th anniversary. Be sure to use the hashtags below on your screen. And now we'll hear from a few who have benefited firsthand from A Step to Freedom.
Yes, my name is Frankie Wayne Marable. I come from a suburban city, upstate New York, city called Peekskill, 28 miles north of Manhattan. At the time, I was homeless, and I I was on this program it's called a pilot program through Department of Social Services, and they had a list of places, and I went to one of the spots, and then I was still running around doing all the crazy stuff, and then I got arrested. And after about 30 days in the county jail, when I came out of the county jail, I went back to the spot, and then they told me about the Step to Freedom. So I went there, and that's pretty much where my life was turned around.
My name is Tony Edgar Martinez. I was born in East LA, and I'm 35 right now. So hopefully this program gives me that chance to have my own apartment and help get my life situated. I feel safe. I mean, like, at any moment when I have any type of situation, I know I have someone that could be there by my side instead of being against me.
Hi, my name is Amber, and I'm from Los Angeles, California. I'm really proud to be a Step to Freedom. It's given me a joy in my life, so to speak, to be able to help these young men from all different walks of life. You know, A Step to Freedom is a unique program because we actually are in this field to give the clients the tools they need to succeed. We are unlike most programs that will only give them directions and tell them what they need to do. At A Step to Freedom, we actually give them the tools that they need to succeed. We're in this field to actually go step by step with them to help them on every single thing they need help with. Get their own apartment, to become independent, and we really appreciate all the help that we can get.
Thank you, Frankie, Tony, and Amber, for your powerful testimonials. You've heard and seen many reasons to support the tireless efforts of A Step to Freedom. Let's begin this organization's next 30 years of service with some well-deserved support. Donate today. And if you can't donate today, you can always visit our website and come on board as a donor, sponsor, or volunteer. Visit our website at asteptofreedom.org. Our next guest effectively served California's 43rd Congressional District since 1991 and is a committed supporter of A Step to Freedom. You can check out Congresswoman Maxine Waters in action on A Step to Freedom's website during the Blessing Bags event last May. Welcome the Honorable Congresswoman Maxine Waters.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to take a moment to recognize Executive Director Kenya Kirkland for her leadership and continuing the important work of her father and the organization's founder, Kenneth Chrome. I'm so pleased to congratulate A Step to Freedom on your 30th anniversary, celebrating the wonderful work you are doing in South Los Angeles to help the homeless and those that have been involved in the justice system. There are many government programs that offer funding to address various programs in our society. However, there are still so many deserving people who are in need of all kinds of services, such as housing, better health care opportunities, nutritious food for their children, rehabilitation services for those who find themselves penalized for minor offenses but end up incarcerated or serving long periods of time in our penal system. These people in need of services have literally been dropped off of America's agenda and are dependent on organizations such as yours, the goodwill of churches, and kind-hearted volunteers and contributors of goods, services, materials, and money. I know firsthand how important job preparation, training, and life skills management are to many in our community. I founded a program called Project Bill, an organization in the South Los Angeles community with an emphasis on public housing projects, where the needs of those communities was often overlooked. Project Build was a program that in many ways worked similar to the very work that you're doing. When I was invited to join you at your press conference in May, I was very pleased to learn about your services, your care, and concern for our homeless population and the special work you're doing on behalf of homeless women. I was so impressed to see your work in action and to learn about your commitment to serve those most in need. As you know, I have been laser focused on eliminating homelessness and addressing the affordable housing crisis for many years. COVID-19, of course, made these problems even more challenging. But since the beginning of the pandemic, I have made my top priority to ensure vulnerable people are protected from both the health and economic effects of the coronavirus, especially people experiencing or at risk of becoming homeless. I was able to secure $25 billion in emergency rental assistance in the December aid package and an additional $21.6 billion in the American Rescue Plan. I was also able to secure in the American Rescue Plan $5 billion for emergency housing vouchers and targeted to people experiencing or at risk of homelessness, domestic violence survivors, and victims of human trafficking, as well as $5 billion through the Home Investment Partnerships Program, commonly referred to as HOME, to enable state and local governments to finance supportive services, affordable housing, and the acquisition of non-congregate shelter, such as hotels, especially for the hundreds of thousands of people currently experiencing homelessness. I was pleased to see that California and the city of Los Angeles received a large share of emergency housing vouchers. And I've called on Governor Newsom and Mayor Garcetti, urging them to reduce barriers to assistance. As chairwoman of the Financial Services Committee, I intend to introduce 3 major housing bills in the coming weeks. First, I plan to reintroduce my Ending Homelessness Act. This pandemic has exacerbated the number of people at risk of homelessness and has added to the number of people living in their cars, on benches, in tents, and under highways and on the streets. In the richest nation in the world, this is simply inexcusable. That is why I fought to include $5 billion in emergency vouchers targeted to 70,000 people experiencing or at risk of homelessness in the American Rescue Plan. But I'm keeping my eye on the prize. Only making housing an entitlement will not end homelessness in America, which, to be clear, we must end once and for all. That is why the Ending Homelessness Act would provide vouchers to the 4 out of 5 people who don't get federal housing assistance, even though they qualify by income. The approach is unequivocally and unapologetically a housing first strategy. For many experiencing or at risk of homelessness, a housing subsidy is all they need to be stably housed. To ensure low-income families are able to use their housing choice voucher, my bill will ban source of income discrimination. But a housing first strategy doesn't mean housing only. As we all know, many people experiencing homelessness need flexible, accessible, wraparound services to address health and mental health challenges. For this reason, my Ending Homelessness bill incentivizes aligning healthcare and housing systems. And most importantly, in addition to ending homelessness, Columbia University estimates that coupled with the child tax credit, universal vouchers would cut poverty in half and reduce child poverty by 80%. The second piece of legislation I will be introducing is my Housing is Infrastructure bill. This bill will provide more than $600 billion to support affordable housing as well as other key infrastructure investments. My bill proposes $150 billion in housing choice vouchers and $50 billion in new project-based rental assistance contracts. My third bill, the Down Payment Toward Equity Act, will target down payment assistance grants to first-time, first-generation home buyers who, unlike their peers, do not have access to generational or family wealth. This bill would be a major step in delivering on the promise of racial and economic justice for millions of first-generation homebuyers who are disproportionately Black and Latinx. Getting these three bills to the finish line won't be easy. It is critical that as many members of Congress co-sponsor the legislation as possible. This will require not just continued advocacy, but activism on the part of advocates and service providers, such as yours at Step to Freedom. Again, I congratulate you on your 30 years of service and look forward to working together to address the housing and homelessness crisis. Enjoy this incredibly special celebration, and I thank you so much for the attention that you give to our community and the work that you're doing that will benefit so very many people. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, for your leadership, your national leadership against homelessness, your commitment to growing wealth within Black communities. We love you, Auntie Maxine. Thank you for your support of our 30-year celebration. We did what Daddy asked us to do.
Yes.
Now what?
Now what? Keep going.
Keep going.
He will want us to keep going and to keep dreaming and do exactly what he did.
Yeah. It's part of those years where we were waiting and fighting for this to happen. Those were the times where God was building our capacity. Our talents was just being honed over that time period, and it was perfect for now. And now that we have reached, the budget we've acquired, and our next goal is to fill this gap that we currently have, right? So we went from one house on Kingsley with 12 beds to 4 sites, right? 96 beds, 33 employees. It's huge. It's huge. It's huge.
Okay.
And this is what our goals are, what we plan to achieve, but increase our interim housing sites, become a leader in real estate development in South LA, because we want to offer permanent housing as a part of what we do, right? Create access to wealth and capital for Black folks in South Los Angeles. I just want to pause right there. That speaks to me, our family legacy and the whole Daddy passing us, the book and having the house on Kingsley. Like that's an opportunity that a lot of folks don't have, but they'll never understand even the struggle it was to maintain that, right?
Yeah.
But I want to create opportunities for folks who don't have just that step, right? Create living wage jobs.
Yeah.
We want to create affordable housing, but we need living wage jobs in addition to be the strongest voice in the fight against homelessness. I think a big part that you're going to play in advocacy and being vocal on all levels of government and just out here, using our voice as an organization to fight for those who are unhoused. And then that's in alignment with the advocate for and create policy that will close the racial wealth gap and create a more balanced and equitable society.
Yes.
People say that being a CEO or being a leader or an executive can be lonely. Being an entrepreneur can be lonely. That's what people say. I don't feel that because I have you. I have you to share that with. And so thank you.
Thank you.
I love you. I love you too.
Wow, those are very powerful stories. Thank you so much for sharing those with us. Hello, everyone. My name is Maya Douglas, and I am a board member of A Step to Freedom. I want to thank our presenting sponsor again for making this special event possible, and I want to thank you all for joining us today. Whether you're a longtime friend, supporter, program recipient, or you're new to the amazing work of A Step to Freedom, you now know our story and understand the passion and love which has been our power. You have seen our work and how it continues to empower our most vulnerable brothers and sisters to find their pathway to self-sufficiency. Our remarkable founder, Kenneth Kroom, did the hard work, and he did it when few believed in ASF. Kenya continues her father's vision and has invited us to join her in transforming lives and building the future of our community. Now, my fellow board members and myself accept the responsibility for continuing Kenneth's legacy for another 30 years of impact. Your support enhances the lives of individuals and families struggling with economic and social disparities. It provides safe, supportive, and nurturing environments to break cycles, heal, and thrive. With your help, we will reach our goal to transition more individuals to permanent housing each year. Give as if we are helping your family, your community, because we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya, for sharing ASF's vision for the next 30 years. And a big shout out to you and the rest of the ASF Board of Directors, Kendall Kroom, Sebastian Lozano, and Jamar Wilson for making this event possible. And a huge thank you to all of our event sponsors and to all of our speakers. And last but not least, to all of you for celebrating with us today.